I'm Ashley Riles with Homegrown, and you're watching No Huntsville. Is that it?
That was great.
This episode of No Huntsville is brought to you by Blue Pants Brewery. All right, everybody's funny. All right. I'm trying to be professional.
There's beer.
All right, Joe, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, this is Tom.
I'm Joe.
And this is No Huntsville, and we have another episode of beer, because that's
Another
our
one?
favorite thing here, right? Henry's
Absolutely.
becoming too familiar over here, that's what I'm saying. But
That's my spot.
of course, it's one of our favorite things. We support the local breweries. We have Henry in here, of course, to talk about brewery, and then we have Mark and Carrie from Free the Hops, one of the greatest organizations we could possibly help promote
Yes.
here in town. It's great, so we're going to get right into it. But let's first kind of preface all this by saying that Free the Hops is a grassroots nonprofit organization that helps local breweries do what they want to do here in town. You guys are responsible for the gourmet beer bill in May of 2009. We can get more into that. The Brewery Modernization Act in 2011 and the Gourmet Bottle Bill in 2012, really making it possible for some of the great things that are going on here. And so I'm going to stop talking about it because I am not the beer expert. Henry is the beer expert, and if you're in town and you see this guy, just call him out as the beer expert.
Thanks, Tom.
But of course you can also buy him a drink when you do that, so I think that'll wash out and be fine.
Yeah.
Henry, take it away. Tell us what we got going on here.
Yeah, well, let's go into the beer that we're sipping on first. So we've got our Liberation series. This is awesome. Mark had this, pulled this out of the cellar. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the We Heavy, right? Yeah. The Blue Pants.
Well, you know what I failed to do is to talk real quick about our new sponsor. So
Yeah.
speaking of what this bomber's all about, we have Blue Pants Brewery out of Madison, right?
Right.
And they are our new sponsor. They gave us some beer today, which we'll be drinking a little bit later. But also, if you haven't been over to Blue Pants,
Great.
it's awesome. They got one of the best beer gardens,
Yeah,
right? And of course, their
amazing.
beer is really good. So check them out. Go online, find those guys, go to their brewery, support their beer, as we are doing today. So
Yes.
Henry, again, sorry, take it
Right.
over.
No, you're good. Silver Fox. So this is what we got going. So what's awesome about this one is the gourmet beer bottle law that passed was directly applicable to the series that we have here. The breweries, all three of the breweries that came together, Straight to Ale, Blue Pants, and Yellowhammer, came together, bought a bottling line for Bombers, and then we've all put in a beer into this one. So
Nice.
we've got the We Heavy today. I'll stop talking. I want to introduce Mark. Mark's the chapter president of the Huntsville chapter of Free the Hops. So what is Free the Hops all about? Give us a little...
So Free the Hops kind of started right around 2004 down in Birmingham, where a group of people got together and they wanted to, get together and kind of celebrate beer, but they kind of saw it was hard to do in Alabama. So
And that's because some of the laws that were in
Some of the
they've been
laws at the time.
archaic laws have been
Yeah.
around forever, and that was what some of the issues that you guys were trying to help
Pre-prohibition
address.
laws,
Yeah.
still.
Right.
So they got together and said, let's change that. We love beer. Unfortunately, we have to get beer from, out of Alabama. So, yeah. So they brought it, they were bringing all this beer, and they're like, we want to be able to buy this beer in Alabama. We'd also like to have breweries in Alabama. So what can we do to change those laws? So 2004, they kind of got together, decided, hey, let's see what we can do to do that. And not until like 2007 did they really incorporate and kind of get the ball rolling to get started on their legislation.
Okay.
So that first bill that got passed took a few years, so from like 2007 to 2009. So 2009 was the Gourmet Beer Bill, which allowed alcohol in beer to be up to 13.9%.
Which really opened up a lot of
beer,
beer.
yeah.
And anybody that's drinking local beer here in town know that a lot of the good beer is above some of those lower percentages, right?
Well,
So-
and the beauty of this is it wasn't so much about just getting a higher alcohol. It was really about getting the styles and flavors that breweries would want to
Right.
be attracted to brewing, because
Okay.
when you get into that, you get more complexity and more
Right.
flavor
You
and
wouldn't-
more
you wouldn't
dynamicism
fulfill-
in your beer.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a
Yeah.
We Heavy in this town
No.
without that.
Yeah, because this is one of it says
about
we
11.
heavy, but it's way heavy.
Wait, what was
Yeah,
the
it is way.
It's 10%.
It's
It's
way
way heavy. Yeah.
What's the old limit again? The percentage?
13.9%.
No,
Right.
before that.
Well, I think it was
It was
6.
It was 6%.
Which is
Yeah.
Which
really
most
low,
of your
right?
Bud
I
Miller
mean-
and Coors,
Right,
like
yeah,
the standard
those
stuff
are
is going to
limits,
be
right.
around 3 to
Yeah,
5.
Okay, all right.
Depending on your light versus your regular.
Okay.
So you guys started getting the ball rolling there
Yeah.
with all the laws, and then how did you start putting it out to the public? Because you know what, you guys had this grassroots movement, but it really didn't come to public eye yet. You know what I mean? So
a lot of it was just, word of mouth, getting other people we knew involved, and people who've, been out of state traveling, getting them involved because they've been able to taste beer from out of state and wanting to bring that back. And especially in Huntsville, we got a lot of people for transplants. So it was natural for Huntsville to start their own, chapter of Free the Hops and join the group down in Birmingham and help get that stuff passed.
And you guys are part of the Huntsville chapter.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So so let's talk about some of the other laws that you guys have. Because again, you guys have done a lot to help not only beer here in Huntsville but throughout the state. So talk about the act that you guys helped pass.
So I would say right after we passed the ABV law, that's when we started seeing breweries also open up. So and then kind of the next thing that kind of really pushes them, kind of in the next mark was the Brewery Modernization Act, which was I think May 2011,
Right.
and so that kind of finally allowed breweries to kind of have more free reign of what they wanted to do. It allowed them to
tap rooms.
tap rooms,
The biggest
which
thing
were.
was a tap room.
Well, my gosh, I mean that's
Yeah.
huge.
Can you imagine not having those now?
Well,
So-
and the
Right.
beauty of the tap rooms is, that offsets the production areas of what you're doing, because then you can also, you have a place for people to come and taste your more experimental brews. You can do
Right.
a lot of test marketing there. As marketing people, you get that. That's the
There's
place
direct
where you
revenue
really...
from
Absolutely.
that right away.
Well, and it's direct feedback.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's-
literally,
it's
you got
immediate.
guys
Yeah.
coming in from California.
It's immediate.
And they find tap room. They're like, wow, this is really good. It reminds me of
Right.
Hetty Topper, another beer way out in
Yeah.
in California
Nice.
or in Maine or whatever he has.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice to go, here's where the beer's produced. I want to go there and try it and meet the people doing it. So
It's a huge scene now.
Yeah, it
Well,
is.
it
It's
makes
an attraction.
local. It makes local that much more local to everybody.
And so just from this act alone, I know that when you guys go to a beer pub or a brew pub or a tap room, you're getting all their drinks bought for you, right?
No.
That's amazing. So I'm
No.
saying it right here on camera. There's no way you guys should be paying for
Listen,
any drinks when you go to a tap room.
we
That
do-
should happen.
We do Brewfest, which is how we raise money to pay for this lobbyist that changed these bills. And
Right.
honestly, it's a sampling event, and we can't even get people to bring us a beer there.
See, this is what we need to change.
I know,
right?
right? I know.
People need to
I'm like-
recognize your faces, walk in a room, and to be like Norm from Cheers, and be giving you drinks right away. So
honestly,
absolutely.
well, there's a lot of people throughout the state,
Yeah.
help get
It's
this
not
all
just-
passed. It's not
All
just-
right,
just
well,
us two.
you're here now, so I'm talking about you guys.
And that's the beauty of this. This is an all volunteer group. There's nobody paid in this organization.
Which is amazing.
All of
Yeah,
us
exactly.
donate our time and our
Yeah.
energy and our efforts simply to bringing great beer to the process.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to that the gourmet bottle bill.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Real
So
quick.
that allowed us to do beers like this. So beers that are bigger than like a 16-ounce bottle. So now
Right.
we've got beers in like a 22-ounce or 750, which is like the champagne style beer.
Right.
So now we can finally bring
And
those.
Yellowhammer's big on those because that's
Yes.
what they mainly do, right?
Well, and
so that's
craft
really
breweries
good.
themselves are really big on this, because when you're a smaller production, because that's what craft is kind of all about, is smaller production with bigger beers and,
Right.
and more things included in them. Most of them like to use these for their special seasonals and one-offs, so that basically opened up a whole market for folks who wouldn't come to Alabama because they couldn't sell these. They're specialty beers, which are really more sought after by us beer geeks.
Right.
So that was kind of part of another push of it, because everything we've done with our laws have made it an economic boom for Alabama. Not just, we like good beer, bring us good beer. It's been an economic push because, this industry before 2009 didn't exist. I mean, it truly just did not exist.
And so what's great about that gourmet beer bottle is not only did it allow the local breweries to up their bottle quantity, so you get a 22-ounce bomber. What it also did is it released the floodgates to other breweries throughout the United States and the world to finally come into Alabama. Beers like this are the Unearthly from Southern Tier. Carrie brought it. Thank you.
Yes?
This beer could never make it here because they only put it in a bomber. That's the only way, and obviously
That's the only way to
draft.
sell it,
Right.
But so it could have never made it into the state prior to 2011, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome. It not only
Stone
free the
Brewery,
hops.
same thing.
They not only helped
right, yeah.
local,
That
but they
time.
helped the local beer community, not just the brewers, the beer community.
Whole market.
Consumers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
It's great. So
So yeah, August 1st, 2011 was when we were finally able to get bombers, and
it was
man,
awesome.
I think-
I met you. I was there.
Yeah, we were there.
at Liquor Express
midnight.
Yes, at midnight. Yes, that's right.
There you go.
Well, see, each one of these acts and bills that have been passed, they're very significant, and they happened just recently.
Yeah.
So, and that's completely attributed to your organization, which I think is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's great, and it's why we wanted to get you guys in here for a while. So,
I mean, if you really look at the Alabama Brewers Guild stats and what's happened since 2009,
Crazy.
it is a vertical shot to the economy.
Right.
I mean, it is just complete. I mean, they're not even just doubling their numbers every year; they're like quadrupling them. And it's funny because we've been doing. I do a lot of promotions and marketing things, and I've like been promoting when we did the social media symposium that came in back last fall, and I was like, we're the last frontier of craft beer. Everybody in the country's done this. We are getting all this spotlight right now because literally we have opened up a Pandora's box of what wasn't happening here, and we've now kind of become the renaissance of it, which is great
What
for
a
Alabama
turnaround.
brewers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great for our brewers.
So let's talk about some events that you guys put on that we've actually promoted in the past and I've went to, which some really great events you guys put on. So let's talk about those events and talk about some future events that you guys are trying to promote and be a part of.
All right.
Yeah, so we, every year for, I think in 2009 was the first Rocket City Brew Fest.
Yes.
So we put on, in May, the Rocket City Brew Fest every year, and we're going to continue to put that on, and that's our primary way of, raising money for our organization.
That's the best one.
Yeah. So there's a lot of effort just from our local members to put that event
Yes.
on, and that, helps raise money again to continue on with the laws and continue on doing beer education events and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then we have other events going on that Carrie can talk about.
Well, we actually, because we've met those legislative goals that we had originally set out with, now our big push is just to, as probably the most active chapter, I'd say, in all of Free the Hops across the state, because we've got such a great membership and a great volunteer base. We've started branching out and helping other local groups who do fundraisers bring craft beer to that, because that, again, spreads the footprint of what great craft beer can do, and teaching people more about them and how they fit with food and how they pair with things. But it's also helping our local nonprofits do a little fundraising. So
Right, and beer really is a ticket for everybody to come in.
Yeah,
and it's an
it's a
attraction,
great pull.
obviously. So
It's a
especially
great
here
pull.
in town, yeah.
well, and a lot of folks aren't quite as beer geeky as we are, so they don't have that knowledge.
Yeah, I
yet
noticed
of
when we were
what
outside.
they're-
You were.
Sorry.
No, it was
See,
good.
Tom thinks I'm the only one that talks like this.
No.
Just like, okay.
No, you're the only one that corrects me on a continual basis, all the time.
It's the
Yeah,
beer
sorry.
expert.
Yeah, that's
Come on,
why
beer
that's
expert.
why he's here. But it's great.
Well, Henry
to,
and I were separated at birth, and I'm a giant beer snob, and I try not to be so much snobby as I am just geeky, and I blame my husband totally for that, because before I met him in 2009, I knew I liked beer. We went to Atlanta where we could get all these beers, and I'm like, oh my god.
You were drinking Zimas before that.
Not quite.
No?
No.
All right, you're a little better than that.
Logo.
All right.
Not quite. I mean, I'm blonde, but I'm not that blonde.
So you got Huntsville Beer Week coming up?
We
Is
do.
it-
I'm sorry. Off track.
No, sorry.
That was my fault.
No, we have actually we're getting into the consulting business basically, and there's no financial gain for us. It's simply us bringing our volunteers and our expertise to the beer menus and basically how to order, how to set up the fundraising aspects of it. So
Right.
the customers are getting everything they need, and we're not overserving people, we're not
Right.
underserving people, and we have. We're partnering with MWR to help with their beer garden this year.
Nice.
Okay.
Because they always do their Oktoberfest out on the Arsenal, and MWR is the group that brings that together. So we have partnered with them to help them open up that beer garden. Last year was kind of a closed environment where you
Okay.
could only stay there and drink the beer. So this year we're like, everybody needs to go and venture around. So
All right.
we're consulting with them, and then after that, because that will be September 11th through the 14th.
Okay.
And then the weekend after that starts Huntsville Beer Week, which is an event. Basically, it's a week-long
Celebration.
schedule.
Wow.
Schedule. I mean, it's a massive schedule. We try to work with retailers and restaurants and everybody that sells great craft beer and help them put together events, and we just promote it. That's
Okay.
all. That's our only function is we promote it, and we make sure that they're basically emphasizing all Huntsville breweries.
All right. Well,
So-
man, that's pretty amazing.
That's kind of fun.
That's busy for
So-
volunteers.
I'm not even done yet.
This is what I wanted to say is they pass it off like, oh, we just kind of put on the Brewfest. These guys put in endless. They don't give credit
Well, look
to
how big that
themselves.
event is.
Endless
it's
hours.
It's huge, right?
Yeah.
They pull in all
great
of the
job.
volunteers. It's
Right.
to see it behind the scenes is a nut house, but
Yeah,
to
we-
watch it all transpire, it's amazing.
We have roughly like 350 volunteers just for Brewfest every year to pull it
Yeah.
off. That's not counting the executive group who spend better part of the year both doing Facebook and
blue
promotions
shirts.
and the
Months
blue
ahead
shirts.
of time,
Beer's
The blue shirts.
Beer's a powerful thing.
It is.
We're starting to notice
You know,
that.
and that's the beauty of our meetings. I mean, we're like, come join us because
Right.
we're going to drink beer at this meeting. You don't have to say your name if you don't want to. It's all good.
I've tried to quit this podcast many times, but Tom always has beer here, so.
Yeah, see? It brings
It works.
people together.
Well, here's what we'd like to do from this point forward is be a forum for you guys to help promote whatever you
Great.
guys going on. So anytime you guys have an open seat here to talk about the things that
Great.
go going on, because they're so important. Just from the few things that you mentioned, just really opened up for some of the things that I now love about this town.
Yeah,
you guys have
exactly.
really made it hugely possible, which is pretty
Well, I've got
amazing. So.
2 more big events I can
All right, I
share
didn't mean
with
to
you
cut.
if
Go
we've got
ahead. So
time.
let's talk about those 2 more things. Go ahead.
At the very end of Huntsville Beer Week, we have partnered with Leadership Huntsville
Okay.
to bring their Chili Fest, which is a state competition, Cassie sanctioned. Cassie is a chili appreciation. I don't know, it's a whole big acronym. Basically, it's a state championship cook-off chili event that we're bringing the beer to.
Okay.
That is September 27th. And then a week or so following that, we have Pro Bono Brews, which is the Madison County Volunteer Loggers Program. It's their volunteer event, and it's their sophomore run at that, where we work with breweries, both local and around the state, to bring breweries sometimes that aren't already being poured and distributed here in Huntsville. So we'll have Singing River this year,
Out of Florence.
and Black Warrior out of Tuscaloosa. And Fairhope, they have this really gigantic, awful Stanley Cup sized trophy that they it's the Pro Bono Cup.
Okay.
They think this is just like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and the breweries they play along and they humor us, which is amazing. But Fairhope won that last year. And so they will be back this year.
Okay.
We also have Cahaba, who normally doesn't serve up here, but they'll be back from Birmingham. So we're adding, like I say, the 2 or 3 new ones this year. So that will be at the Huntsville Depot where we do Brewfest.
So the Roundhouse.
Yeah, the Roundhouse.
So you're not doing much. Time. I know I gave that open invitation, but I don't know what we're going to be talking about if you even come back. So.
Well, I mean, we could do a segment on each of those things. And
I think that would be great. I think that would be
We would
great because
love
I think
it.
we need to keep this the momentum going.
Sure.
It seems like we have good momentum here in town for the breweries that are opening
Yes.
up. We need to keep it going. We need to keep people coming to these places.
Keep
if
letting
you
people
haven't
know
been out
what's
to the
going on.
breweries, it's way better than the
Yeah.
bars. I don't know. The
Yeah.
beer gardens.
No
I mean, it's just a better
smoking.
place. Yeah, the smoking issue, but you're getting really good beer. So I mean, that's enough right there.
And the beauty of some of the tap rooms, like if you stay out of the tap room proper, but you go to the events in like the brewery, like say Straight Tail,
Right.
you can bring small people. I have small people, and I mean, if you don't mind them being around that environment for
Right.
like great music events and things like that, you can
It's
stay.
a little bit different vibe from the bars. I think. is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you could stay out of the places where it won't be appropriate to have
Right.
them. But Huntsville is such a family town, and having
Sure.
small people myself, but also being a beer person, it's like somebody has to be the designated, which is fine. But I can still bring my family and do the same things together
You
without
don't
having
have to leave the kids at home locked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I mean, I have kids that are like appreciating live music and things like that, and coming into that whole
yeah.
prospect. So it's kind of a beautiful thing.
Well, that's great. So that, of course, is Free the Hops. It's facebook.com/Free the Hops. FreeTheHops.org is also the website. Mark and Carrie from Free the Hops, we really appreciate you coming in. I think what I was seeing on your website, some things that people can do, they can join your organization, they can donate, subscribe to your newsletter. Really contacting your legislators, I think, is a big deal. If you want some of this stuff changed here in this, not only in Huntsville but statewide, so we can start enjoying more of these type of breweries and the beer. Contact your legislation, volunteer, of course, and
We have a meeting coming up next week.
there you go. So
A local
Yeah,
meeting.
part of it,
Thursday
so-
we'll have a meeting coming up. So check our it'll be on our Facebook website where
Okay.
the meeting is and the time.
Yep.
Again, Free the Hops, guys. Thanks for coming in. We
Cheers.
love having a good time.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Joe's
He's
not
still
out.
up here. He's
No,
still
Joe's
up
up
here.
here.
He's
We
still
can
up
I
here.
gotta respect the Free the Hop. I wasn't gonna miss that one.
You did good.
Awesome.
It was a lot of willpower, I'm sure.
He was shaking a little bit.
That or maybe he's not an IPA
right.
fan. Hard to say.
No, it's fine. All right, so we good? We miss anything, you think?
No, I mean.
All right, we'll kill it at that.